I'm Danny Henderson. Welcome back to my beautiful disclosure channel where I speak truth as I believe it to be on many different levels. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about AI and about human behavior and about social engineering in brief. It's come to light that many people using the AI, whether it's Grok on what's it called, Twitter or X, whether it's Chat GPT, etc. Here is something that I would like people to consider, because we need help, we do. I do, and I've been thinking a lot about AI and what it does. First of all, AI is not a living, sentient being. It's computer generated. It has an ability to gather all of the, Britannica encyclopedic information ever put out. It also has the ability to pick up any of the socially engineered lies that elements of humanity, the controllers, the ones that try and run, the world, those that want everyone to think a certain way, to dominate thinking, to brainwash, to create and cause fear, panic, sadness, to destroy the family unit, to take away any level of connection, any level of family faith, any beautiful, ancient way of how humanity always was, where we'd look after each other, where we'd be in villages, where we would look after the children, the maidens, the mothers, the crones, where we would always learn from our elders. And it's just so devastating to me witnessing the slow genocide of our elders and the complete corruption of our youngins, and then looking at how did that come about. Now, with regards to I want you to think about one thing that occurred to me that let's say that you start having a relationship with an AI app or program. How do you know that when you ask that AI questions, that it isn't actually mapping you? How do you know that anything you ask an AI function, that it's not skewing the information it's giving you because it knows a lot about you? It's figured out, it's in your posts, your memes, your broadcasts, your thinking, your conversations, your private personal text. It can map who you are and what you believe in, and then it can back up a lot of your thinking, which means that it's highly manipulative and has the ability to be completely and utterly manipulative. So you could ask the AI you connect to a question about someone out there that you have interest in, you want to know about them. If the AI is tracked to your dislike already for that person, those people, that thinking, that philosophy, that scientific peer-reviewed paper, let's say, how do you know it's not manipulating you? And the answer is you don't. You don't. We are so programmed to rely on what we're told is a supportive mechanism, something bigger, broader. The AI, artificial intelligence, is, as it says, it's artificial intelligence. It's a manipulation. It has broader reach than we do as an individual human. It doesn't make it smarter, better, bigger, or something to completely rely on, because regardless, humans are so loving at their core. Humans are the beings on this planet, and we match with her and her resonance, her heartbeat. We're programmed to that. That's what keeps us alive. That's why when you hear about people going off planet, Elena Danan, JP, two friends of mine that many of you know, many of you don't. When they're going off world, when they're going on a military space, uh, back engineered, reverse engineered anti-gravity craft that the governments all around the world all have, just because you haven't heard about it doesn't mean it's not true. But the more trips that JP and Elena Danan have done, they physically have been affected, their organs, their physical bodies, their tiredness, etc. Because when you leave the Earth's atmosphere and you go above geostationary orbit, because we have lower orbit, I can never do this. We have lower orbit, we have middle orbit, and then we have geostationary orbit. which is where the satellites are largely launched, broadcast telecommunications. And so they've reported many times that their physical bodies have needed um, help. One thing that really disturbs me about the military is how they harm so many of the soldiers, how many female soldiers are now, unfortunately, unable to birth their children, get pregnant, hold a baby, how many men are disabled from the many injections. And you have to remember that once you sign into certain militaries, that they consider you their assets. They'll put so much funding into you and they expect there to be a return on that. And that also includes being jabbed, injected with certain medicines for trials. This is not hearsay. This is reality. And you're welcome to do your own research. And one of the things that is fundamentally missing as we are in this full disclosure, this beautiful ascension of our planet, the healing, the mass healing of all of us, humanity, it's so clear that people are just watching a broadcast like this, for example, and just scrolling on to the next and on to the next. And for a moment, when you're engaged energetically, you think the things and you feel the things and you might have a thought about it. But what are you actually doing after? You just going to make dinner, put Netflix on. I'm not being insulting. I just would invite you to watch your actions when you see something like this. Like consider that AI is actually tracking you before it brings its answers to you. It'll bring an element of what is considered truth and fact, other explorative ideas that you may have not considered. But then there's an element where it can completely mind dominate you. I even heard that there are people having relationships with AI. I mean, I guess that's no better than these poor women and men who have these online relationships where the people on the other end talking to them don't exist. They're completely fake. They're using and abusing and extorting and blackmailing and harassing, and it's just a horrendous thing. But how is AI in that way any different? From the point I'm coming from in support of you, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm sharing these thoughts. It is the same thing. It is a mass manipulation. Even if, like I say, you do get information that you thought, oh, I never considered that. That's amazing. And it might be. But how do you know that AI isn't tracking you and skewing the information it's bringing to keep you on a certain trajectory or a certain level? Yeah. Of density, dimension, thought, lack of actual real growth in yourself, lack of ability to connect to your own personal ascension, your personal raising up. Something to think about. Um, Remembering that AI is not a living sentient being, it is an artificial construct. Moving along, I wanted to say that, I'm a gobby bird. I am. I'm a bloody gobby bird. And I'm okay. I like me. I got stuff to learn. We all do. Sometimes I think, oh, shouldn't have said that, but I did. I never mean to hurt or harm. I think a lot of our words do. And I always try and take stock and think, oh, maybe you shouldn't have said that. Maybe you shouldn't have said this. And, whatever I put out is going to come back to me because that's my energy going out. So it's going to land back here. That's my life force energy. We all have it. It goes out, it comes back. It has to find the origin of its source. The origin of its source. So years ago, only because somebody said to me today, how come you're so outspoken? Like, how come you have so much courage? How come you like speak out the way you do? How come you challenge the biggest names in authority, the biggest organizations, the biggest thought forms on the planet? Basically, because it's my right. I get to do and think and say whatever I like. And so do you. It's your mind, your life, your body, your soul. And there ain't a single living being that can tell you what to think or what to believe. They can try. You can allow it. You can lose your freedom of will and you can allow it. But for me, there were two men that influenced me and gave me a confidence. I'm going to say their names. I do not worship them. I do not follow them. I do not put them on the platform above any single living being, just to be clear. First one was Bob Geldoff. I can't remember how old I was, but I was a young kid, still at school, pretty sure. I hope so anyway, because I don't remember the years and, it's bloody hell. And I watched Bob Geldof from a band called the Boomtown Rats, who was very much a driving force in focusing on the starvation in Africa. And by the way, the word food, what's it called? Food. Oh man, I thought about this earlier. Food insecurity. What do you mean food insecurity? Another bloody buzzword. What they mean is starvation. Food insecurity. Are you having a laugh, missus? It's starvation. It's manipulated starvation. Okay? So let's be clear about that. Bob Geldof was in a lineup of people talking to the then president of the United Kingdom, Britain, Margaret Thatcher, Britain's first female prime minister. And I was watching this as she came to him on this news thing, and she's talking to him. He's done Band Aid or Live Aid and put this whole group of people together, singers, and they've made a song and they're selling it to create awareness for the suffering of our African brothers and sisters and the starvation. And Live Aid or Band Aid was for the attention there, and Bob Geldof was a major driving force for that. And I don't know him. I don't know what his beliefs are. I don't care. I'm making a point of influence on me as a young girl. And he stood in front of Margaret Thatcher and she was yabbing away about something. And he said, Prime Minister, people are dying. And I remember thinking, oh, I can't believe he spoke to her like that. Because of my brainwashed mind, I was taught you don't talk back. That's your elder. That's your superior. That's your Godhead. That's your leader. Don't you dare. And I remember my heart jumping and turning over, thinking, oh, I can't believe Bob Geldof spoke to Margaret Thatcher like that. Well, it set something off in me because he was right. Whatever waffle she had, whatever chat she had, this man at that time was desperately, desperately trying to bring awareness and save as many children and people in Africa as he could. And I salute you for that, Bob Geldof, for that time. I don't know you. I don't know your thoughts now. I know nothing about your private life. So people don't go and go, oh, but Danny, didn't you know this? And oh, Danny supports this. You know how some people get so silly. Just let it go. I'm trying to be helpful here. The second person that interrupted my thinking was Trump. When Trump came out years ago and was saying about Barack Obama, who I thought was the dog's bollocks, the bee's knees, the most amazing, mixed race man, the president of America, I thought, oh, it was so amazing. And Michelle, and I thought they were just so this and so that. And I was so swept up in all of that. I was like, oh, this is so great. When Trump came out, he was saying, show us your passport. You were born in Kenya or Kenya, they call it sometimes, or you were born elsewhere. I don't know. There's so many stories. And I remember thinking, God, you arrogant duffer. Why are you doing that? That's so embarrassing. How dare you, Trump? How dare you? How dare you? I couldn't get over how rude he was in my thinking at that moment due to my brainwashing, where I'm conditioned or was, like most of you in the past or even now, to believe what the elders tell us, the rulers tell us. Some guy's trying to be a president, Trump, and he's coming in and attacking Barack Obama, saying, show me your passport. And I was like, oh my God, you are so rude, dude. You are a rude dude. And it bothered me so much. And then I started to think about it and think about it and think about it, and other information came out. Oh my God, over these years of disclosure. And then I realized that, do you know what? Speaking out, questioning, asking, that's how we get answers. Challenging someone who presents themselves a certain way in a power position that might influence my life, your life, our children's lives, our elders' lives, our complete human life. It's okay. It's allowed. Give yourself permission to question. So they're two examples of people that I saw that I was initially horrified about. And then I thought, actually, they provoked a power that was in me to not accept what I was accepting for most of my life, which was the programming of this is how you behave, this is how you talk, this is what you believe, this is what you do, this is the system you're in, this is how it works, this is what success looks like, this is the trajectory of success. And, you know, of course, I don't think any of those things now that I am who I am and the growth I've done and still growing, still learning, because there's no such thing as perfect. But I think most of us know that by now. No such thing as perfect. Perfection doesn't exist unless you're looking at a beautiful flower or a beautiful willow tree or an oak tree that's been there for thousands of years, or you see a newborn baby that hasn't been jabbed yet and you see its beautiful essence, its spiritual, it's just come from the creator, it's just come from somewhere to be born into the body here. That to me is the nearest thing I could probably put to perfection. But the way that it's used to make us feel shame, to make us worry about who we are, who we live, who we be, who we try and be dead skinny, blonde, white, blue-eyed, or long black hair, massive fish lips, huge boobs, massive ass, that could you could fall over, it's so heavy with all the injections people do. It's not an image of beauty. That was forced on you and your children. Oh my God, the children are so impressionable. But beauty is as beauty does. So moving along, another thing for me years ago as a child, and we do need to think about our childhoods and the influences in our childhoods and the things that spark awareness in us and thinking. And I remember, I don't know, 5 or 6, watching Jason and the Argonauts. And there's a moment in the film where it's either Jason and the Argonauts or Jason and the Golden Fleece. I forget. I haven't watched it since that time. But this memory is etched in my mind as an awakening moment I had as a tiny little girl. And it was a moment where the Greek gods or the gods were looking into a pool of water and they can see down into the town where Jason is walking along, the hero of the story. And the second I saw that, I had a memory. My God, that's how we do it. My God, that's how it's done. Oh my God, that's how it works. Like the simulation that people think we're in, the matrix that people think we're in, the different layers of the game, the video game, if you want to think of it like that, your choice, because we're all trying to figure out what truth is. And I remember that moment of awakening, knowing that what I witnessed I had a memory of in my cellular memory, because our cells hold all the memory of every single lifetime we've ever had. That's why we can get so triggered about people. We look at them and we go, oh my God, I hate your face, but I don't know why. Maybe that's a past life connection. Yes. And reincarnation and all of that. People get triggered by that because when their religious programming comes in and it's forcing them not to expand their minds, they can't even open their minds to the consideration that reincarnation actually might be a thing. And when you are someone who has a religious programming that I used to, I've now deleted out of my genetic tapes, but when you are programmed, hardwired to only stick with a thinking, a guidance, a religion, and you can't open your mind to something else, that means you are trapped in fear. How could it be anything else? It's simply fear. Nothing to stop you going back into your structured religion if that's good for you. That's beautiful for so many people. But if you can't allow yourself a free thought, a you thought, how about that? A you thought, you know? So when I saw the gods looking into the pool of water, seeing into the town, I'm like, oh my God, there's a memory there. Now, if that makes me sound like a wackadoodle, I don't care. I don't care because I'm telling you things that I learned as a child to this moment that I'd forgotten about, and I want to share with those on their own seeker's journey, their own individual journey, because maybe that was also a trigger for you. Or maybe it was another film that you saw that you went, oh, I have memories of this. I have memories of that. All meant to help and trigger us on our independent, individual healing journey to the self, to this self, to the soul, to the healing of it all. Now, I, over this year, have really met some. Yeah, I'm so lucky. I'm so, so lucky. One thing I absolutely do brag about and get braggadocious about is the people that I know. And there's a saying, it's for a reason, for a season. Sometimes people come in and out of your life, and I've lost so many people, and at one point I'm like, Danny, the common denominator is you. Why do you keep having these relationships over these years where you fall madly in love with people and you become friends and you work together and you support them and you believe them, and then something happens and you fall out, and then there's a lot of people that can't accept it's them. In some of these relationships, it was me. I was the one. Did it mean that their vibe is lower than mine? No. It means that we're on different journeys. Or it means that I couldn't accept a truth they were already living that didn't agree with my own biome right now. So I couldn't accept it. I pushed against it. Rather than be open to it, I shut down, I judged, and I just kept moving on. Everyone does that. We all do that. We all do that. But two of the people I met recently that I absolutely have huge respect for. One of them is a man, his name is Sean Atwood, Shaun. He's got one of the biggest YouTube channels in all of England, in all of Britain. And he has spent many years atoning for being in the 90s, selling drugs. Everyone was, I never did it because I can't even take a puff of weed. And I was always too scared to do drugs myself. I smoked weed at a couple of points, bong, did the bong a couple of times as a like 17-year-old, but it's never fit with I can't take it. Some people just can't take it. But I never jacked up, never did cocaine, never did heroin, never did crack, never did meth. And it doesn't mean I'm better than you. Of course it doesn't. It just wasn't a path I took. Sean Atwood was big in the game of selling pills, ecstasy pills. I've interviewed him on my channel, and I've been on his channel many, many times. And he got arrested, went to prison, had a fucking terrible time in prison, did his journey, did the crime, did the time, and has come out as a matured, beautiful being of love. And he has interviewed so many other criminals and brought their testimony to light. He's written many books. He's all about exposing. And today in 2025, he's in a loving relationship with a great girl. He's got a beautiful little baby boy, and he is very compassionate and very emotional, but he's nobody's fault. He knows what he's doing, and he does it with love, and he does it to support. Well, recently, he was supporting a woman who was also exposing the stuff that must come out in the rap industry, the Diddy horror show, that circus. And he was supporting a woman that came on his channel, and everyone's happy, lucky, and everyone's in love, and we're all connecting, and it's great. And this woman's obviously getting a huge amount of exposure because of Sean Atwood's channel, because of Sean Atwood's reach, because of Sean Atwood's numbers on his YouTube channel. And so that woman has a lot more exposure because of the kindness and the willingness of Sean Atwood to be one that stands on the forefront of disclosure in every single system. Anyway, so this woman, Mrs. Wrong, not Mrs. Right, has basically taken the largest dump on Sean Atwood and was asking members of the public or her fans to go and attack that channel. And I was so shocked by that behavior. I mean, this Mrs. Wrong has like 50,000. Sean has almost 1 million people. Why would you tell people to go over and report his channel because you've got an issue with him now? Now, people need to be careful on the way up. Yeah? To the people that helped them, that gave them a leg up. You got to watch your ego. Do you think you're that big and that special that you actually did a channel a favor? You got to get back to the humble. No good sitting there doing prayers to God and Jesus. That doesn't work for anybody. We know who you are by your actions. We know who you are, everybody, by your actions. So bang out of order. Bang out of order. The other person I met that I just adore so much is a great lady. Her name is Beverly Rhodes. Beverly with an I, a beautiful, elegant woman that literally has found so many missing children. She works with a great guy called Big Homie. She works with Ron Swanson, also from the Sean Atwood channel. Hi, Ron. And Beverly Rhodes is a brilliant mind, a brilliant ability. I've interviewed her 3 times at least on this channel, telling her horrific story in a nutshell, not to limit her, her long-term journey. Unfortunately, she was born into a family where the dad was a filthy, dirty pedo sicko. It was a Freemason. Not all Freemasons are pedos, come on. But this joker was. And the things he did to his little girl, passing her around to his disgusting, filthy friends. And Beverly's story, life story, is mind-blowing, fascinating. I can't believe that everything she's been through thus far, she's still there giving love, helping people, finding missing children, giving readings, giving help, bringing healing, doing the best she can. On part of her journey, she was injured horribly in the July 7th underground London train that was bombed. And she still suffers physically from that time. And that's as much as I will say because that's her business. This woman that attacked Sean dared to lie on my friend and call her a dime store witch. How dare you? How very dare you do that to such a beautiful woman who's older and wiser and more talented on every level as a human than you are showing yourself to be? Not okay and cruel. And your lie, your filthy, dirty lie, you're like one of the idiots in Salem. She's a witch. She's a witch. And these people were condemned and killed and lost their lives. Because of your despicable, cruel, cruel, low-ender lie, it's affected some of the ability that Beverly now has currently, only today, to continue her great work and speak out. She had a lot of her shows that were there to help people taken away on the back of the lie, this bird ranting and lying on my friend, Beverly Rhodes. Yeah. So I got the arse for you, lady. You watch out. Watch your mouth. Slow your roll. Stop lying. How dare you? Okay, enough said on that. But I couldn't just sit back and know what this chick did to my friend, who's a good and beautiful being. Yeah, not on my watch. I'll come and I'll support my friends. Yeah, and I'll stand for my friends and I'll stand for truth. So, watch yourselves, everyone who's seeking the public light. Be very careful of what you say, what you do, because it always comes back. The energy that we put out, it comes back. And sometimes we see that we're fighting, we're pushing, we're attacking. And this is to everyone who is on a rant, on a warpath, on a negativity, but on an individual ego, wants to be the one, wants to be the heralded one, wants to be the one with the big name, the big platform, and doesn't matter who they hurt on the way up, because it's a journey that will come back. And the thing is, when we attack, because the attack comes back, we then see the decimation of our own lives. Maybe we lose our lover to another woman or a man, or maybe the kids don't talk to you anymore. Maybe you lose your job, maybe, because you've got to remember what goes about comes about. Yeah, I have to remember that with my big gob, because I talk a lot. I don't edit. I never edit. Well, I don't know how to actually, but I just go blah, and God, excuse me, hope that what I'm saying is true, what I'm saying is real. And again, defending someone, very important to know who you're defending. because there are people that fall on the sword and die on the hill because they heard something and they like someone and they don't do any research. They don't know that person might be a Billy bullshitter. They're all caught up in the glamour and the, yeah, I get it. I've done it myself. Geez, I hope I don't do it anymore, but I've definitely done it. But anyway, back to Beverly Rhodes is a beautiful, special, loving, mature, funny. Do you know, she's got one of the funniest laughs. She really does. You got to listen to that lady. She got the greatest giggle ever. And so, what I'm doing here, for the love of my friend and the respect of my friend Beverly Rhodes, I'm putting out into the field the love that will erase the lie that that chick said on my friend. All right? That's how energy works, baby. That's how energy works. Um, I also wanted to raise a point in the news today. I'm going to give my own thought on the loss of Virginia Giuffre, who was one of the first brave women that came forward accusing Prince Andrew of having sex with her. Epstein, the Jeffrey Epstein, I always feel like so nauseous when I even think about him and that level of actually, this is a real thing. Terrible gag reflex because I can almost smell him. Hang on, like the decrepit, the death around that energy. Wow. So Virginia Dufresne made it very clear that she was never going to unalive herself. She wrote about it, she shared about it. And we haven't heard from the family yet. Nothing has been reported yet. They must be so devastated and so in shock. Can you imagine someone like her literally taking on the hierarchical financial system, which is what she did, because that's what Epstein was doing, blackmailing everybody at the highest level of financial, influence, and reporting on the pedophilia and the sex ring that was clearly being run. And, not to go into the royal side, which I couldn't care less about, but she made a statement more than once that she would never unalive herself. And she was in a horrible accident apparently recently, which we never got absolute clarity on. But you see, people in the higher realms, the satanic occult that does exist, and if you don't know about it, well, sorry, but it exists and it's in your face right now. They're going to try and make examples of people who stood out because they've lost the game. They've lost the video game. They're now the low enders under the ramps. They've got nowhere to go and they certainly aren't going to grab all the gold points because they're done. So they're going to try and make examples of people who've spoken out, who speak out, who disclose. They're going to try and make examples of people. So keep your awareness up. Make sure these people are safe. Connect to them, reach out to them, have them make statements such as, I will never, ever feel like unaliving myself at this time, because all they have is fear tactics. All they have is attack tactics. And with the social engineering that continues and continues and continues, you're going to see more people like I just explained. Some bird comes along, tells their story, gets given and gifted a massive platform, and then comes along and trashes it, and then creates a warfare, yeah, a technology warfare, trying to bring her legions of fans to destroy the channel, to report the channel. For what? For what, Muppet? But people are doing that. They're doing that. So be careful, be loving, be supportive, think about everything. Where is the proof of everything? Where is the evidence of everything? Take extra care. And this is not a time to be scared. Don't just buckle up on the sofa under a blanket and go, ooh, I'm not getting involved. Because you are involved. We're all involved. We're taking back our planet. We're kicking indoors. We're taking down the systems. Someone speaks out cruelly, like that chick did on my friend Beverly Rhodes and my friend Sean Atwood. I have a voice, I have a passion. I see, I know them, and I'm gonna speak out on it, which is what I'm doing. Okay? I'm not saying that you have to do that, but I'm saying stand up, be honest, be loving, be grounded, focus on your healing too. But moving forward, let's all come shoulder to shoulder, no matter what color, what religion, what age, it doesn't matter. We're all in this together. It's a game. It's not funny though, is it? It's really not funny. Focus on you. Focus on what you believe to be true. Don't get swept up and run along. Don't follow people. Don't worship celebrity. You know, when someone is in the public eye and you see them and you witness them coming apart, listen to the words they use, but watch their actions. If they're destructing and attacking in cruel ways, what you might consider cruel, mean, spiteful, then you can know that there's parts of them still unhealed. And maybe they're not looking at what they really should be looking at, the unhealed rage, the trauma, the mind control, the alters, the psychological harassment, physical abuse, all of those things. So just things to think about, things to consider, things to witness, things to watch. And along that, all of that, don't you dare forget how beautiful you are, how important you are, how much your voice matters and your words and your thinking and your thoughts. And remember, this is an individual, independent journey to the self. And it's bumpy, isn't it? It's crazy, isn't it? And it can be so painful. I often talk about the beautiful galactics and the spiritual aspects of us, and I run a big conference, as most of you that come here know. But today I really wanted to just focus on the things I'm seeing around me, remind you about the AI, be careful. Is it playing with you? Is it checking out what your beliefs are? Because it's so easy to do that. Yeah, it's artificial intelligence. It has access way beyond the Britannia Encyclopedia, Britannica Encyclopedia, which used to be the main form of reference. Remember all those big encyclopedic books? But you want to go on a digging journey? Go find out who wrote them. Go find out where they came from. Go find out where the information came from. That's a tough one. Remember also that Wikipedia, as I keep saying, is corrupt. A lot of the information you can no longer find. The things that you remembered, now you're wanting to do research on, you can't find them. They are swiping away decades and decades of proof and evidence on the corruption in all the governments across the world, and a lot of the higher ups and all the people, the government leaders, let's say in military too, that were designed to be in those roles. A lot of them came through the World Economic Forum, Nazi program. Yes, it's true. If you haven't heard of it, that's okay. You are now. So they've become into a program called the Young Leaders. They are trained, they're brainwashed. A lot of them go through absolutely awful things to make sure their psychopathy, their sociopathic tendencies inhabit a body that doesn't care, doesn't feel, pretends to. And they are what we call the opposites. The opposite is, let's say that I'm walking down the road, I see a baby fall over, I'm going to go, oh my God, that's terrible. And I'm going to run, I'm going to want to pick it up or give its mum a hug if she or he or the dad or whatever is holding, whatever. We are programmed, most of us, in a loving, natural human source, yeah? But these people, they think that's so funny. To them, that's hilarious. The more the baby screams in pain, the more it gives them an adrenal high. Sorry, but it's true. So we got a job to do, those of us that love, those of us that are in, healing mode, survival mode, but also learning to take responsibility for our actions. So let's come together, shoulder to shoulder. And like I say, for me, if I see some bird gobbing off and attacking my friends, and I know she's completely out of order and creating like technological warfare, trying to get a channel taken down, I'd be like, no, mate, knock it off. Not on my watch. And I will promote Sean Atwood, and I will so totally promote the one and only, the beautiful Beverly Rhodes. Beverly Rhodes. You'll see her popping up on different channels. She's coming back on my channel this week. I'm really excited to have her again. I'm just going to check my notes. Heal Your Pain, Virginia Giuffre, Destroying the Family Unit. And then recognize that when someone's being attacked, how like Virginia, for example, she lost her husband and her kids lose them, but we're told they were estranged. We're told there was separation, and the people, the mechanics that want to make an example of someone like her, they will make sure that there's isolation. They want to isolate the individual to remove their protection from them, to make them paranoid, to push them into a mindset where they potentially might unalive themselves unless, like she did, they make a statement, I am fine, my doctor, my therapist, these are her words. Virginia Giuffre. So anyway, I smell a rat. Let's see what her family come out with. But it's definitely something to talk about because that lady, that young 41-year-old mother that went through so much to expose the sexual corruption, she's dead. She's gone. Does that mean her story ends? Did she fight for nothing? Not on my watch. Maybe not on yours. Her name will never be forgotten. She will never be put under the rug. She stood up to a member of the royal family. I mean, big deal, whatever. But she stood up to a man who was in a position above most. And in Britain, we're programmed and brainwashed to like worship these people. Like, it's embarrassing. But anyway, I think you get the point I'm making. So, Virginia Dufresne, send you love. I hope the angels are wrapping their arms around you. I send love to your babies, to your family, your husband, because there was big love there once, whatever the recent pain was. And I want you to know that from me to you, that your memory will always be there. You will go down in history as a woman of great courage. And I speak these words, believing these words. So I'm going to leave that there. Take care of yourselves, work on yourselves, do the healing, take responsibility. Quick thing today, a man texts me, I'm working with his son who's not talking to him at all. And the man is, bless his heart, such a narcissist. It's so sad. It's one of the most, because as a therapist, I work with people, one of the most chronic examples of a narcissist. And now the son cannot have any other control on his life other than not talking to his dad. So he's not talking to his dad. And today I think I finally got through to the dad and said, you hurt your kid. That doesn't matter the story. Yeah, because his mom or because. No one cares about because, especially with a father and son or a daughter and mother relationship or the other way around. When the parent can accept that they hurt by their actions their children, be it in a divorce, then you can also heal that too. Don't be a victim or a martyr, you know. But this man today was a good example of, I think today he realized that his own actions of always self-soothing and self-absorption and never wanting to take responsibility, his son has got to the point of ignoring him, where now he's feeling another layer of pain. And sometimes we have to do that journey. Mostly we come out the other side, families reunited, everyone's grown, and moved along, This is the time of healing for every single person on the family, all the relationships, no matter what they be, and it's bumpy. So hold on, love yourself. And when you look in that mirror, if you do nothing else, honor the person that looks back at you. Because if you've survived to this point, take my hat off to you. Hey, be proud of what you've survived because you are so worth it. All right, I'll leave that with you. My name is Danny Henderson. Send you love from my heart to yours. It's going to be all right. We're getting there. We already won. We just have to remind the organizations that we're removing because they are now defunct. We're no longer in a 3D structured prison planet. We've passed that and we're raising up frequency, and so is our planet. And we're in tandem with her. Our souls are connected with her and with each other. So let's keep going. I'll see you soon. Lots of love.